Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Mind Your Puckin' Business with your host, Jeffrey Krentzman.
Thank you, Dougie Sticks. How are you? Good morning.
I'm great. How are you? Good morning.
I'm good. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening to us from, and whatever time of day it is you find us.
Snowy morning.
Snowy morning. Yeah, I didn't even realize, I went out to come here this morning, to come to the studio, and I didn't even realize we were going to get some form of substantial snow. I wouldn't say it was crazy, but it was enough they definitely had to clean the car.
Yes.
And as we talked about, and I don't know if I should say this on the air, when I just went outside 10 minutes ago, someone next door in a different business asked me how my ride in this morning was. Like I know who he is. But
he probably thought you were me.
We do. We get
you got
that
the same beard.
We get that a lot. Well, welcome to the program. As always, coming to you from the studios of Undefeated Media here in beautiful Bergen County, New Jersey. This is the Mind Your Puckin' Business podcast. You can hear us at Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. So if you're looking to get in touch with us, finding us is never an issue. And as well, if you want to email questions, and we appreciate you guys doing that, you can always send us your questions at MYPB at gmail.com. That is MYPB at gmail.com. So plenty of opportunities for you to get to us if you want to. And I think now that hockey's underway, we're probably going to be starting to get a lot more questions coming in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
And I would think, not to give a little segue into what probably is going to be a depressing episode today, that if those questions were to be about a certain hockey team that plays in New York City at Madison Square Garden, I'm not trying to give away the answer, that a lot of those questions may be somewhat negative or depressing.
Yes.
So we left a week ago. We taped the show last week on Tuesday. Now, if we go back in time, the Rangers last Tuesday,
Marty McFly.
We talked. We're going into a pivotal 10-game stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I said they were 1-1. They had just come off an absolute thrashing performance of the New York Islanders 3 days prior.
Yeah.
And the Rangers looked at their schedule, and they had the Devils coming into MSG that night. They had 2 road games in Pittsburgh coming up and 2 road games in Buffalo. So, Dougie Sticks, out of those 5 games, since you can get 2 points a game in the NHL, the Rangers had an opportunity to get 10 points. Now, as we tape this on Wednesday, they've already played 4 of the games.
Okay.
So, at the moment, the Rangers in this pivotal point in the schedule could get 8 total points. I am going to ask you, because I don't think you know the answer.
I probably do.
Oh, you do?
Let's go.
Okay, let's see. Out of those 8 possible pivotal points that the New York Rangers could get to get a good start going and get some traction. Wow, he looks like he knows the answer. He's excited.
I hope so. I think I do.
How many points did the Rangers
get
get
right now?
No. How many points did the Rangers get in the last 4 games?
So how many points we have to date?
Well, no, because, how many points do the Rangers have to date?
2.
No.
Damn it.
The Rangers had got 1 point out of 8, and it came.
Oh, time out. So it was like an overtime win?
Yes, it was an overtime loss.
Oh.
Overtime loss.
My bad.
So, or shootout loss, rather, on Friday night in Pittsburgh. So the New York Rangers now are in a situation where they are off to about an abysmal start of a year as you could possibly have. They have gotten 1 out of 8 points in the last 4 games, which were pivotal, and now are in last place. And they have one more game left in Buffalo tomorrow night before they come home. So let me start off with this. My kids are into the New York Rangers. I've said this before.
Yes.
I consider that one of the few good parenting moves I've made in my life.
Nice job.
But, it would be nice if they could have a winning team to support.
Mm-hmm.
Because of their father. So my kids last night, we watched the games, and they usually go to bed like in the second period. So they don't know the score when they go to bed. So my kids are watching the game last night. The Rangers are winning in the second period, and they go to bed. My wife and I then will watch, the rest of the game without them. My daughter comes in the room this morning, and the first thing she says is, "Daddy, I saw the Rangers lost. They're really bad this year." So if
Insult to injury.
yes, a 9-year-old is even understanding
Wow.
how bad this is. So let's try to dissect here what's going on. And there's a lot. There's a lot to talk about. And nothing here is positive at all. And it's painful for me to do this, but this is why Undefeated Media pays me the big bucks that they do. So let's start. And I'm going to go in a direction that's going to be a little controversy right away. And
I like it.
Yeah,
I like
you
the
like it. We've talked off the air on the show. We try to avoid controversial topics.
It's what the media runs on. It's like gasoline for the car, man.
Yes. or exactly. So we're going to start in a little controversial tone.
Yeah.
And I don't know if David Quinn is the right person for the New York Rangers hockey team as the coach.
Wow.
David Quinn, who, when he was hired, actually he was hired on my wife and daughter's birthday 2 years ago. He was at the time a coach where I went to college at Boston University. And the Rangers, who were undergoing a youth movement, decided, hey, this guy has a track record of developing young players, which is true. It's what the Rangers need. They have all these young players, and David Quinn is probably the right fit. David Quinn was not really, if you remember, not huge on taking the Rangers' job. Then the Rangers really kind of backed themselves into a corner and didn't have anyone else, and they threw a ton of money at David Quinn until David Quinn really said, okay, I'm the new coach of the New York Rangers. The problem I have here with David Quinn is if you were brought here to develop a lot of the young stars, what young star in the last 2 years has made leaps and bounds? So let's run down the list. Capo Caco, which would be probably the best example. He was the second overall draft pick a year ago. He played last year. He has not gotten any better. I'm not sold that he's a bust or anything like that. I'm not going down that road. But you can't tell me that in the last year and a half of the coaching he's had from David Quinn that he's gotten better, because he hasn't. He just hasn't developed. I'm sorry, he has not. The other thing with the development is, now this is an interesting topic because this player has played well this week, but Philip Keetle, before he got hurt last week, had been playing okay so far to start the season. He's been doing well, but he's a former first-round draft pick. He's been under David Quinn's system for the last 2 years and hasn't really developed either. So what we're seeing is a coach who was brought here for one specific reason, which, and I think the reason was right at the time. It's just not working out. Now, some of the other things that are going on here with questionable moves, the Rangers now have played a total of 7 games. Every single game they have had different lines. There is zero consistency. I am going to turn this over to my hockey guru to my right, because you had made a comment last week, not being the casual hockey fan. I like that term for you, casual hockey fan that you are. That how are these players going to establish some sort of chemistry with line mates if every freaking game it's changing? My God.
Yeah. You're not going to get into a rhythm. It's coaching 101. You do that with any sport. Like if you constantly are changing the complete lines. Now I get if a player, an individual isn't playing well, you could substitute that guy out, but you still have the basic framework of what you think your basic lines and strategy are. But if you're just constantly doing things, not only is it messing up the flow, but you're also messing with people's egos and confidence. Just like the goalie, you remember, right? We have our starting goalie, didn't play well one game, got pulled out.
So there is an extreme amount of inconsistencies going on. We'll get into Alexis Lafreniere in a minute, but we'll get into him deeper. But I'll just say this, here's your rookie sensation. He started the season, the first game on the third line, which was fine. I don't think anyone had a problem with it. The second game, he was on the second line. He got moved after one game. Then he moved to the top line, which meant he was going to be going against top line defensive pairs, right? Which is not really ideal. Mm-hmm. And now, as of last night, is back down on the third line, now with Capo Caco. I can't keep track of who is where. It's incredibly frustrating. So I'm not sure really the logic here, and you're getting what you would think you would get, which is no chemistry. Because when you watch this team, there's just no chemistry at all because the lines are changing. Now, aside from the coach, what else is going on? Because is it all the coach? No, it's absolutely not all the coach. Ranger fans, and we knew this day would come, that we were going to realize how spoiled we were with Henrik Lundqvist, right? Not only did you have a good goalie here for 15 years, but you had an elite level, like an all-time great. So Henrik Lundqvist would keep you in games, and you would win games 3-1, 3-2, yada, yada, yada. The goaltending has been atrocious to start the season.
Wow.
Igor Shesterkin, who was the favorite in Vegas, to be rookie of the year across the whole league, is off to a horrendous start. Someone brought up a really good point yesterday to me. Obviously off the air because we were not on yesterday, but they said, look, it's a lot different for a player or a goalie to be the number one guy versus a guy last year. He split time with Lundqvist. Now the burden is all on him, right? And all the eggs are in his basket. He's got to carry the team, and it's a different mindset to prepare when you are the number one guy. And I don't know if that's what we're seeing with Igor Shesterkin. Do I think he'll work it out? Yes. We obviously know how insanely talented this kid is. He showed it last year, and he showed it in the previous years before in the KHL in Russia. But right now, he has been awful. And the goal on Sunday night that was let up with a minute and 33 seconds left, I think it was in the third period, to lose to Pittsburgh has to be stopped. I mean, there's just no, you can't let that in. So there's issues goaltending. Defensively, the defense sucks. I'm sorry. The defense here sucks. Jack Johnson is a joke. Every Ranger really fan. I'm going to keep it G-rated. That's how I really feel. The New York Rangers in the offseason signed Jack Johnson to a 1-year deal. Everybody who was a Ranger fan screamed about this deal. Why did they do this? This guy sucks. We talked last week about on the first game his breakdown. You know what happened last night? This idiot trips a guy in front of the net in the first period. The Rangers are up 1-0, sending Buffalo to a power play, and of course they score on. I don't understand. You have 7 defensemen, Dougie, which means, because I know you don't probably know this, 6 are going to play. So every game you take one and you say you're a healthy scratch, right? Jack Johnson was a healthy scratch once. How is Jack Johnson a better option than any of the other 6? It makes no sense. This is and defensively, Jacques Martin, who is a really well-known NHL coach. He coached for a lot of years in Ottawa and Montreal. He's had success. Was brought in the offseason as a defensive-minded coach, right? This is the guy who's going to fix the defense. He's fixed freaking nothing. The defense sucks. Yeah.
And it doesn't help that they're changing everything up. And I'm telling you, it starts with the goalie. You're pulling them out every other game. That's with a goalie, it's all mental. Like, it's 100% mental game right there.
Yes. So defensively, there are issues. Up front, the Rangers. I'm going to name 3 Rangers out of the entire roster that I think have actually played well, and that number shouldn't be 3. It should be like 15 if your team was good. But I think there's 3 Rangers that have played well. One is Adam Fox, who continues to develop and look like a steal of a second-round pick in the trade with Carolina, who's been awesome. Pavel Buchnevich, who I've gotten on before, has been pretty good, actually. He had a beautiful assist last night. He's been playing well. And the other one is rookie Keandre Miller, and we send our congratulations out to him as he got his first NHL goal last night. But other than that, every single person on the Rangers have just been awful. We'll throw that on Zibanejad. I'll throw it on Panarin. I'll throw it on Kreider. I'll throw it on Jacob Trouba. Jacob Trouba last night, I don't know what happened. The Rangers are up 2-1, okay? And they're on a power play, and the power play's ending. The puck comes around the board. Trouba just flat out misses it. The guy goes and steals the puck. He can't try and chase him down. The guy goes in on a breakaway and scores shorthanded. I mean, everything is going wrong. Now, we said, and when we had Dan Rosen from the NHL Network on here a couple weeks ago, did we think that the Rangers were going to be competitive for the Stanley Cup this year? Absolutely not. We did not. We would have been pleasantly surprised had that happen. But this has been awful.
Yeah, it's like basic stuff. It's like garbage goals.
Yes. Now I see we have
a question.
We do have a question coming into our live feed, and that is from Brian. I'm not Hanslin. I hope I pronounced that right. How much of Igor's struggle can be attributed to the lack of defense? It's part of it. It definitely doesn't help the defense that he has in front of him. Look, if you're a goalie and your defense isn't playing well in front of you, you're going to see more shots against you, and you're going to see higher quality chances. So some of it could, but there's still a sense that some of these pucks that have gone in by Shesterkin need to be stopped. Like the first game that he got pulled in the opening night versus the Islanders, the 3 goals in the first period, 2 of them should have been stopped. The game-winning goal the other night in Pittsburgh that cost them from even getting a point, getting to overtime, has got to be stopped. So the defense is part of the problem, but it's not fully, but it is part of it.
Now, do you think? So, like, sometimes just teams are just bad. And I don't think that's the case. I think they're just mental mistakes. Like these players are physically and like capable. Like we have first round draft picks. You know what I mean? Like these are like capable players. They're just playing mentally.
They're playing terrible. Now the Rangers have a lot of proven talent, right? Mika Zibanejad is a star. Artemi Panarin was a Hart finalist for the MVP last year. There are players on this team that are very, very talented. Even some of the guys like Kakko, we know he's talented. He's just not showing it. So players have to play better. Ryan Strome has not done much. He scored a chip and goal the other night in Pittsburgh. Other than that, he's been almost kind of non-existent. Tony DeAngelo and the controversy that we talked about on the show last week, he's now back in the lineup. He's been non-existent, doing nothing. Look, at some point, we know how things work in sports. When you have talent, you can't blame the players. The players are not going to be the fall guy. It's the coach. The coach is going to become the fall guy. And if you're Jeff Gordon, the general manager of the Rangers, or John Davidson, their president, which would really be the two people that would make the decision on a coach at any point, there are still some good name coaches out there. Gerard Gallant, who had an incredible run with Vegas, taking them to the Stanley Cup Finals in their inaugural year, which is incredible because it was their first year together, is out there. He had a lot of success as a coach in Florida also. So there are some coaches out there. Look, I'm not saying we're going to sound the panic button, let's clean house, blow it all up yet. But if you're David Quinn, you have to be thinking to yourself that you're on the hot seat already, because this has just been awful. And now they have one more game tomorrow night in Buffalo, and then they come back home for 2 versus Pittsburgh over the weekend. You really hope that in the next 3 games, they're able to steady the ship somehow. And if they can't steady it, at least get control of it, because it is in a quick free fall here in a really bad way. Now, they were not helped by Philip Cheadle, who I said had been playing well, actually got injured the other day. So it was a weird situation in the game the other night, Sunday night. There was a play, the play ended, and he accidentally collided with a guy on Pittsburgh. Didn't look bad at all. They both went down, but it didn't look bad. Both of them almost really couldn't get up. Never came back in the game. And now Philip Cheadle is out 4 to 6 weeks with a quote-unquote upper body injury. So whatever is going on there is not good. And now the Rangers are really limited in what they could do. We talked about on our season preview show that the one position the Rangers had depth issues with is center. Philip Cheadle is a center. So he is your third-line center. Obviously, Mika Zibanejad is going to stay your top-line center. Ryan Strome is going to stay your second. So now what they're doing, and it's really the only thing they can do, is move Brett Howden, who was your fourth-line center, up to 3. You're not going to go out and make a deal, right? You're not going to go out in a season that you're off to such a terrible start to replace a third-line center for a couple of weeks and give away and pay a lot for it. So you're going to have to fill this in-house, or if you're going to make a move, it's going to be with the name of a role player who's not going to be on the team again when Philip Cheadle comes back. So if fans are out there thinking that the Rangers are going to make some sort of great blockbuster trade to get a third line center, and even you over there shaking your head, it's not gonna happen. So yeah, I mean that's where we are, and it's incredibly frustrating. We'll talk a little bit about Kaapo Kakko again. We're fortunate today that we have a studio audience again, and it's a Devil fan here, and we were talking before that Jack Hughes and Kaapo Kakko are always going to be linked as to who is better. Not only were they drafted 1 and 2, but they play 5 miles apart, with Jack Hughes on the Devils and Kaapo Kakko on the Rangers. Jack Hughes, in the quick start that the Devils have had, has kind of looked like he's taking the next step, or at least he knows how to do that. Kaapo Kakko has regressed in the first 7 games. There's no other way to put it. I think he has 1 goal. And now, at the top of my head, he's got 1 goal. And Lafreniere, we're not going to sit here and sound the alarms that he's a bust and all that stuff of a generational player. I mean, it would be foolish to do that. I think we all know he's talented. But it's not helping any of these guys that the lines are changing consistently.
So, on that note, who are we going to get next year for our first-round draft pick?
Is it sad? I'm not proud of this, but is it sad
that we're looking forward to
that I thought of that last night after the game? That I was like, wow,
at least we get a first round.
Do I get to watch the lottery balls come out of the machine again? Because that was fun, and hope that it was on the logo. But I do think that the top pick next year so far, that from what everyone said from the mock draft, is a defenseman. I forgot his name, but I think he's a defenseman, somewhere from Europe. I think from Finland. But yeah, so the New York Rangers, look, if you are going to be competitive, look, in a 56-game season, you have to start well. You don't have a lot of time to fix it, right? It's not 82 games long. So you cannot get off to an atrocious start and really make up ground. Yeah. It's almost impossible to do, because you also have to remember that because you're playing teams in your division every game, every other game in your division, somebody is getting 2 points. It's not like the Flyers are going to be playing Vegas and Vegas gets 2 points and somebody in your division is getting points every night. So to make up a gap is going to be extraordinarily difficult this year, and you have such a short time to do it. So I would say this: when we are on the air next week, either Tuesday or Wednesday, if the Rangers are still in this free fall, we're going to be really close to being like, they definitely ain't making the playoffs this year.
Yeah. How many, so they're obviously with, COVID, they're in these like smaller little leagues that only play each other. So how many teams are in our league?
8 in the division.
So they play pretty much the same.
They play the same 7 teams. So 7 teams plus the Rangers. All season long, they're playing Buffalo, Boston, the Devils, the Islanders, the Flyers, the Penguins, and the Capitals, which, as we've talked about as well, is probably the hardest division in the league. So you're playing highly competitive teams. There's no game that is a walkover. Like you would think that maybe the 2 weaker teams with the Rangers in the division,
we're the walkover.
Well, right, we are. That the teams that maybe you would have an easier time against would be the Devils or the Sabres. But the Rangers have played them both in our own too, so that's not true. And again, the Devils are off to a really good start without 3 of their good players, and Buffalo's playing well.
And once we hit the playoffs now, are we stuck in those divisions?
No.
Because that wouldn't be very fair.
Well, you play to get out of your division. So what they're doing this year, they normally would not. It normally would be in the conference playoffs. What they'll do this year is the number 1 seed and the 4 seed from our division will play. And then the 2 and the 3 seed will play, and then the winners will play each other before you move on. And again, I'm not drinking some funky Kool-Aid over here, or Kumbaka, like you drink over there on the table. You love when I call it that too. Kombucha, whatever. I'm not drinking some funky Kool-Aid and telling you that the Rangers were supposed to be a Stanley Cup contender, because they're not. We said if we could have a okay year and see progress and development of these young stars for our future, we'd be fine with it. But we're not seeing anything. Watchable games. Other than Adam Fox, Buchnevich, and Keandre Miller, try and tell me that any player on this team is playing well. I can't.
Is it lack of effort? Like, what's going on?
No, it's like the other problem that the Rangers are having, and I've seen some pretty funny memes out there with it. The Rangers are like a little bit allergic to shooting the puck. They're passing up shots. I forgot who it was the other night in the Pittsburgh game. Someone really came in on almost like a quasi breakaway and pulled to the left to try and pass it to Lafreniere on the right, and it was Kreider, try to give it to Lafreniere to score his first goal, and the pass never even got completed. So it's like you passed up a point blank scoring opportunity and we got nothing out of it. They're all out of whack. Yeah. And we're going to, and again, I hate to do this, but we are going to watch this David Quinn situation now, because I think it's fair. Look, I really think it's fair. He's on the hot seat. I'm not saying that I expect him to be fired today or even maybe next week, but if this doesn't get better, they are going to be out of here soon. So let's end the depressing part of our program. You fine with that?
Well, yeah. I mean, before we end that whole situation, I just think it's funny, because I'm sure we're going to touch base with this in our next segment. I think it's funny that there's a lot of times where coaches are doing things, they're getting so much money to coach, and they're doing stuff that the basic fan knows better.
It's a fair argument, especially with the changing lines, because anyone will tell you that, lines are never going to develop chemistry if they don't play together, and things are constantly changing. And that cannot just be attributed to, Philip, Hedl got hurt, because the top 2 lines keep switching, and I don't understand it. I just do not understand it. So it's frustrating. It's something to watch. It's probably something that's going to be a pain to watch and be annoying, but let's hope that tomorrow night, where the Rangers can end their road trip with some form of positive before they come back to New York for 2 versus the Penguins over the weekend and Monday. So shifting gears from the NHL, I'm not even going to touch on other teams today at all, because I'm just too annoyed, and the Rangers put me in a bad mood that I just want to leave hockey all alone. Yeah. So why don't we shift gears to a happier news? You want to do that?
Sure.
Put on your happy boots.
Yeah.
We'll get you like a little strawberry daiquiri over there. Happy drink. So we are going to run a promo here. Promotion.
Yes.
The Mind Your Puckin' Business podcast, where we are going to give away free money.
I mean, we pretty much did that all season, but
we did. Actually, that's fair.
So we're giving away more money.
We're giving away more, right? How do you not love us?
Right?
How do you not love us anymore? So we are running a free promo with the Super Bowl, and we'll do it this week and we'll do it next week. That if you email to us, and we'll put our email up on the screen, by the time I even say the word email, it's up on the screen. It's modern technology when it works. Must be the new Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's the Wi-Fi. It's super quick now.
It's super quick. So you see the email if you're following us on camera, mypbshow@gmail.com. I'll say it again if you're not following us on camera, and that is mypbshow@gmail.com. We are going to run a Super Bowl promo, and we are going to give away a contest.
Ooh, I like contest.
Contest sounds better.
Yeah.
Sounds more exciting.
Yeah. Contest. One winner.
Contest. One winner only.
One man will survive.
Please, we're not breaking the bank here. So we're going to do a contest Super Bowl
contest
where next week you and I will reveal what we think. We will reveal not only who is going to win the game, who we think will win the game in the Super Bowl, but we're also going to pick the score.
Yeah.
We are going to have you tell us who's going to win the game and also the score. The person who gets it closest will win an Amazon gift card.
They have to well, let's iron this out. You got to email what you think the score and the winner is. You can't just say 14-17.
Right. You have to get the winner right.
The winner right and the score.
And the winner right and the closest to the score. So
are we doing what's that show called? Damn it. Where they guess the prices.
Oh, Price is Right?
Yeah, we're doing Price is Right rules. Where you go over.
No, very simple. Very simple. Here's how it works. So if you think Kansas City is going to win 20-10, right? Okay. And you say that and Kansas City wins, then you're qualified now for round 2, which is the score as the tiebreaker. And you had Kansas City winning by 10. So we then say, Kansas City won by 14, you were only off by 4. Whoever is closest to the point differential.
And going over doesn't matter. So if I said 21-10 and it was 20-10, doesn't mean I'm qualified.
Bob Barker's not here.
Drew Carey's not here either.
We're not going to buzz that buzzer to tell you.
Wayne Brady. There's like 5 hosts for that show now. All right, cool.
By the way, totally ADD topic with the Price is Right. I saw this thing last week, and I think it was when Bob Barker was a host. Did you ever see where how people always undercut you in the bidding? So all the time,
or they say 0.
So somebody had bid. You got to look this up. It's on YouTube. Someone had bid 2 amounts, and then someone had bid $1,300. Right. Well, the last guy put his bid in at $1,299, which was so stupid because someone already bet $1,300. Right. You bet instead of going $1 over, he accidentally went $1 under. You get it? He can't win. He's had $1,299.
If he's the less though.
But someone was $1 someone was above him. So he bid $1,299.
Yeah.
Someone else bid $1,300.
Yes.
So he's dead.
What about everyone else though? Because everyone else was above him too.
I don't even remember.
Okay.
Forget. All that matters is these two.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So he accidentally bids $1 below instead of $1 over.
Yeah.
What happens? The price was exactly $1,299.
Wow.
He ended up winning. His stupidity. You got to look it up. It's a funny clip.
That's crazy.
And it's even worth watching because of Bob Barker's facial reactions. How could this guy be so stupid? And then 10 seconds later, he had the exact amount right. He won the bonus or whatever it is. So anyway, participate in that promo. It's free money. All you got to do is email us and you will be entered and we will give away an Amazon gift card.
The winner contest.
The winner. We will announce the winner in 2 weeks. And
I like it.
And sorry, you're not allowed. I mean, you can play, but you're not
going to win.
Since you're an employee of Undefeated Media, you are not allowed to enter.
It's all good.
But we'll see how you do against everybody else.
I'm going to get it right.
You will.
We'll see.
So moving to the NFL and happier news and a happier sport to talk about other than the New York Ranger mess. This past weekend, we were sad on the program to see our friend Leali's Super Bowl run and the Buffalo Bills end. Kansas City, I was watching the game. I completely missed the first game because I was out refereeing hockey. Mm-hmm. So I missed that entire game. I saw the score. I picked Tampa actually in our pick, so I wasn't surprised that they won. But when I watched the Kansas City game and Buffalo was up 9-0, and then Kansas City's offense started to wake up, it kind of hit me why this is not a surprise. Like when they were scoring all those points in the second quarter, I'm like, yeah, Kansas City's a better team. Buffalo's a great story, and Buffalo is going to be around for a long time. Like Josh Allen is going to be a star in this league. They're coached well. They're in such a great division because the Jets and the Patriots suck, and the Dolphins are getting better, but they're still not where they need to be. So the Bills are going to have, and we said this to Liali last week, actually, when I prepped her in case she did lose to make her feel better. I said, look, you're going to be around a while. You're going to have other shots at it, and they will. They will have definitely other chances to get at it. But in the meantime, sorry for the Buffalo Bills. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs winning the AFC Championship for the second year in a row. Now, the other game, as we talked about, Tampa Bay advances. Not a surprise. Look, you want to go against Tom Brady's experience in a championship game, plus in cold weather where it was up in Lambeau. I mean, please. I mean, I'm not saying it was a gimme at all, but I knew they would be competitive, and they were, and they won that game. So the Super Bowl leads us to Super Bowl is in Tampa this year, actually, and will feature their team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, against the Kansas City Chiefs. One thing on the NFC Championship game, and I may take some flack for this, but it's fine. I have never been a fan at all of Aaron Rodgers. Like, I just find him the most
there's a lot to unpack here.
Like happy person. I'm not even getting into off the field stuff with Olivia Munn years ago and all that stuff. He just always is
smug. He comes off a little smug.
Smug's a great word.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's now these comments with him where he's making some comment after the game, I guess, that he is not sure what his future or if he's going to be back. And I guess maybe it's a Green Bay's decision. But Aaron Rodgers is probably going to win the MVP award this year. And look, I mean, I don't think he's the nicest guy, but he's a heck of a player. I'd love him to be my quarterback.
So there's a lot to unpack. Yes, I do think he's a little cocky and like a little like, you know, whatever. But I do sympathize with two things. One, how do you draft a quarterback in the first round last year? That's number one. And two, how do you take the ball out of his hands in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left on the 10-yard line?
So I'll take the first one. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be here forever. They didn't draft, Jordan Love, I think was the quarterback that they picked. They didn't draft him to start over Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has to realize.
Draft a quarterback in the fifth round.
But what does it matter if you think a quarterback is there in the first round that 3 years from now is going to be your next Aaron Rodgers or your next Brett Favre? I didn't think that was weird at all.
I think the quarterbacks are constantly changing, and I think that if that quarterback's not stepping in to be a starter, you shouldn't be taking him in the first round. You can get a wide receiver, you can get a running back, you can get a lineman. Does the Packers have a running game?
When Aaron Jones is healthy, and that's a big when, is he can be good. But yeah, so the thing with
huge. I mean, that's if I was a Packer fan, I'd be really. It's like the same thing with Eli Manning. Eli Manning, horrible. The way they handled his exit was horrible.
Yes. Well, I don't think the exit term is where we're going to be with Aaron Rodgers because I'm sure he'll be back. But he's just never – I don't know why. He's a hard guy for me to root for. Again, he's the ultra talented, and I'd love him to be the quarterback for my team. But whatever those comments were after the game the other day did not surprise me. So the Super Bowl comes next. We have a week off. This will be our first Sunday, unfortunately, without football. So you can do other plans, considering there's a lot to do with the way the world is right now.
Oh, yeah. So
with
much
what's open. And what leads us to Super Bowl. So next week, we are trying to get the great Jeff Sheesby.
Yes, old man who bets.
I mean, if there ever was a perfect week for him to grace us with his presence, you would think it would be next week. So we're trying to get to his people and see if he can join us. So we'll do a lot, obviously, next week of preparing and prepping the Super Bowl. But here's what I would say about it. Kansas City, you want to let me pull up the spreads here. I'm pretty sure Kansas City opened as a 3.5 point favorite. I'm curious
while you're pulling that up. The Bills, man, they had a great opportunity. I don't think their offense stepped up to the plate that day.
You know what their problem was? They had those chances in the first half in the red zone and ended up with field goals every time. Yeah. That's where they screwed themselves. So the Kansas City Chiefs right now, as we stand, are giving 3 points in Tampa against Tampa in the Super Bowl.
First time ever that's going to happen. Is the home team is the home team at the Super Bowl.
And it's a year where there's really going to be limited fans. So it's almost kind of frustrating that would have been an advantage. And the 1 year that happened is the one year.
It's probably going to be the same exact amount of fans now because, both teams go to the, now it's just like half.
Well, what they're doing, which I saw was cool, is they are giving, I want to say, a third of the tickets to first responders and medical workers, which is great. Like, I mean, they should this year be giving any corporate person who's taking a ticket should be giving it to a healthcare worker or first responder. So I was happy to see that. So Kansas City is now giving 3. The spread looks like, if you follow it a little bit, looks like it's going back up in the direction of 3.5. So expect that the spread is going to end at -3, -3.5. That's a hard game to pick. I mean, the Super Bowl should be a hard game to pick, right? Right? If you think about it, it's the hardest game of the year. So we'll see. I'm not really sure what we're going to do, but join our contest, enter. You've got nothing to lose. If you have a bad score or the wrong team, we're not going to humiliate you on the air. So
maybe we will.
Maybe that'll be you. Depends on the mood you're in that day. Right. So we will see. We will definitely prep the game next week in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully with Jeff Sheesby.
Super Bowl special,
and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if Tom Brady. It would be fitting and annoying, but not a surprise if Tom Brady leaves New England and in his first year wins a Super Bowl. I mean, it just would. You wouldn't be surprised. You'd be annoyed.
It would solidify. It would solidify the goat. Like before he went to Tampa, it was like, he's like the GOAT. But like it would solidify it, and it'd be a good he's playing the next GOAT per se. People think that Patrick Mahomes is the next. I saw a great meme. It was Yoda and Baby Yoda, and it was like the meme was like, it's the Super Bowl because like Yoda and Baby Yoda. Okay.
Well, Patrick Mahomes is a guy who's going to be around the league for a super long time, and with the contract they signed, where he's going to be, and that's in Kansas City. Tom Brady, you would think, has 1 or 2 more years left. So if for some reason Kansas City wins this game, which is certainly possible, it's what Vegas thinks is going to happen, you would think Tom is going to get a couple more shots at it in Tampa. And it's unlikely, from what it sounds like, that Drew Brees is coming back. And even if he is, Drew Brees is now 42. So similar to the Bills, Tom Brady is good playing in a division that he can win next year outright, because I think they're better than the Saints, and the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons certainly are not going to give them a run. So if it doesn't happen for Tom Brady next Sunday, he's going to get other chances out of it with the Tampa Bay to solidify himself.
And you saying that right there kind of proves my point. Drew Brees, let's just say he retires. You got Jameis Winston and Tyson Hill right on deck. Like, I don't believe, going back to our Packer talk with the draft picks, there's an abundance of disgruntled quarterbacks in the league, and there's a lot of talented players. I wouldn't be, if I have Aaron Rodgers, if I have Tom Brady, if I have Patrick Mahomes, I'm not drafting a quarterback. I'm drafting weapons. I'm drafting linemen. I'm making my team better. Guys sitting on the bench, man.
Okay. So you have, all right. So here's the question then. So you have Sam Darnold. What are you doing as the Jets?
I mean, that would be one of the cases where I would think about it. But Sam Darnold, I mean, he's not the worst quarterback in the world, and we might get Deshaun Watson. Another point, another one of my points. If I get Watson, man, I don't know how to draft any quarterback. I'm drafting a weapon for this dude.
The New York Jets, for as bad of a season as they had, and we were with you the entire step of the way, all 17 weeks of that disaster. But the New York Jets may have a really good offseason. They got their coaching hire right with the guy from San Francisco, and Deshaun Watson, because of the fallout in Houston and him having a no trade where he can pick where he goes, he may fall into their lap. So if the Jets can improve the offseason and they would have to probably give up the number 2 pick, which I'm fine with, but it means you're getting Deshaun Watson and the new coach. As bad of a Jets on season as it was, and a memorable one and an unforgettable one with how horrible it was, at least they may be getting the offseason right. So I see we have one more question. And
before we go to that question, because it's on this topic, you get Watson. You still have your first round pick. Who are you drafting? Do we need a running back? We lost Le'Veon Bell. Are we getting a running back? No. Gore's got some years on him. Are we getting a wide receiver? What do you have to?
Well, if you're going to keep the 2 pick and you have Watson, you could draft the wide receiver from Alabama. That's amazing. That's the only option there, unless you're trading down, because you could trade if you wanted a running back. You could trade down and still get a running back at that point. So if you're going to, and I would be stunned if the Jets kept the number 2 pick and got Deshaun Watson. I mean, it would be a miracle.
The power's in Watson's hands, man. He might he might force his hand. I don't know, man.
So, all right, let's take the question up on the screen that just came in. Where's Matt Stafford going to end up? I hate to say this, but I think he's going to New England, because you have to look at Bill Belichick and think that he's not happy with Cam Newton. The young guy, and the name escapes me there, that they have as a backup, the young kid, they just refuse to play. I don't think he's going to all of a sudden make him the number 1 guy, Sudbury or something like that.
How about the Colts?
The Colts are possible, and the other one is the 49ers. The Colts, they're all, well, actually, New England's probably not a great spot if you're Matt Stafford. You know why would be funny with Matt Stafford? Matt Stafford was coached by Matt Patricia, who was a complete failure in Detroit, got fired, and now he just got rehired by the Patriots, where he came from. So Matt Stafford could actually be reunited with Matt Patricia if he ends up in New England. So yes, I think New England, Indy, or the 49ers. I'm surprised with the 49ers that they're this down on Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, if you're going to be down on Jimmy Garoppolo, getting Matt Stafford, an older guy, you're not really in win now mode out there, other than your defense. So the 49ers was a little surprising to me. I think, to answer the question, he's ending up in New England for a year or two.
I think Indianapolis.
It's possible. With Phillip Rivers gone, it's definitely possible. And you know what? That's actually not a bad fit, because that is a win now team. They have decent wide receivers, T.Y. Hilton, obviously, and they have a good running game, a good young running back in Jonathan Taylor, and their defense is very good on the other side of the ball. So Indianapolis would not be a bad spot.
It's going to be a lot of moves this offseason.
And you'll have to stick with the program for us to kind of navigate you through.
So we can be extremely pissed off when the Jets make the wrong moves.
that will be coming on NFL draft night. That's a guarantee. Maybe we'll do a special live feed. I did, speaking of live feed, and then we'll sign off for the week. I did this thing. I don't know if I told you this. I think one of the Ranger games last week, I did like a live feed before the game. Like, nice. Can you guess what Ranger is going to score the first goal? Now, I got it right, actually, which is, it's luck, right? It has nothing to do with skill. And I guess Pavel Buchnevich was the second Islander game. Well, I had my kids be in the video with me, which they thought was cool. Nice. And now it's like all they want to do is do these live things with, like, get
them headsets and do lives before the games.
Yeah, please no.
Get them started young. They'll be prodigy podcasters.
Yeah, that would not be a recipe for success. So one last time, enter our Super Bowl contest. Send your score, your winner, and your score prediction to mypbshow@gmail.com. We will announce the winner in 2 weeks when they will win an Amazon gift card. Big money. They can get. They can buy you a 12-pack of kombucha drinks that you'd like to drink over there in the studio. And tune in. So we'll see next week. Can the Rangers get it better situated and more under control? Or is this going to just be a complete free-for-all for 4 months until we get the first-round pick again?
First-round pick again, baby.
At least you always have a way of, like, finding the positive.
Maybe they're tanking on purpose. Who knows? They could be pulling the Jets, and then we just mess it up at the end.
So we will sign off, although you and I understand, are taping promos after the show today.
Yes, we'll be taping a little promo. We're helping out our Bergen County area, so people look out for that.
Yes, we're taping promos, so I get to stay with you longer today.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't like being here?
I mean, I do have a real job, but yes, sometimes I work at it. Yes. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Again, the contest or any questions, thanks for writing in the questions today as well. And enjoy your football-less Sunday for the first time since August. Now we won't have football this Sunday. Enjoy your week, everybody. We'll see you next week.